This is the third and final lesson on operational excellence in agriculture. How we apply the Toyota model within agricultural operations. And in this lesson, we will now enter the base of the Toyota house, which keeps the whole house standing, the foundation. And this foundation is mainly focused on continuous improvement, on ensuring that processes are stable, leveled, and consistently improved. And to talk about this, I will first of all show you an example here. I want to show a video, and I will invite you to watch this video with a critical eye. Have here a Toyota perspective, the perspective of 25 cars per person per year. For this, everything has to flow, everything has to be easy, everything has to be simple. Let's look at this process. This is a process of preparing spray solution on a small farm, and we will follow the operator doing this. So in this video, Zay, who is here operating, is all with his PPE, dressed, cool. This is done every day on this farm, but let's watch him making the mixture of the syrup. Let's look at what his difficulties are, the impediments. What makes this process not flow? So he does, look, the first mix, then he goes to the faucet, opens it, lowers it again, raises it. Notice there, look, the faucet is dripping and he has to open the other faucet to add a bit more water. He moves his hand again, going to mix. He closed the faucet. Now he's going to walk to the end to get another product. And look, to get this product, he has to move something out of the way, drag a heavy container, and then turn this heavy container. Is the accuracy of his work, with all this effort he's making, really going to be precise? The amount of product he's mixing, he has to close it, put the drum back in place. Look at the number of things he needs to do to mix the solution. I'm going to pause the video here for just a minute. I know that maybe some of you are thinking, but that's his job, man. He's paid for this. He has to do the work. All right, I agree. He has to do the work. But if we look at what Zay is doing that actually generates value, in other words, what is his job? What is the expected result? What does his client want here? His client wants a mixture with the right concentration, in the right sequence, in the volume that will be used that day. This is the expected result. Let's see everything he's doing here that actually generates this expected result. Let me tell you a story I heard recently, told by Ryan Teener. Ryan is a manager of a company called Sitting Matters in England, a great example of lean, a great lean teacher who is applying this every day. He told a story. He was in Japan along with Paul Akers, learning from Toyota, and they were walking down a street in Japan and passed in front of a barber shop. He mentions this in his book. Very interesting. In front of a barber shop, Paul Akers stopped and said, "Look at the person cutting hair. What is she doing that generates value, and what does not generate value? If we can't see what doesn't generate value, we can't improve the processes. We can't make people produce 25 cars per year. We will continue producing half." If we look at cutting hair, what is the expected result? It's what the client wants, right? The haircut, the way I asked, the way I like. When is the barber cutting my hair actually generating value? At the moment he is cutting. While he is cutting with the scissors or with the machine, he is generating value. Every moment he is picking up the scissors from the cart, changing, fetching something, going somewhere, that does not generate value. He only generates value when he's here, scissors cutting. In other words, all other activities are waste. If I can see this, I can think about how to improve my process. How do I do fewer activities that don't generate value and more activities that do generate value? Spend more time doing what actually generates value. If the barber starts to look at this, placing the equipment closer, having it on the belt here, why do we use these vests here? Look, because I have everything I need to teach here, I don't need to move around. The barber could have it here. Look. So he reduces the time to find the tools he needs. He organizes it in a way that he glances and sees what he needs. To reduce time on activities that don't generate value and use his time doing more things that generate value. With this perspective, let's continue watching Zay's video here. Look at what he is doing that generates value. So it's not generating value, 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 generating value, because measuring the right amount is value. Not generating value, 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 not generating value yet. Now he is generating value because he placed the product in the right place, where it needed to be, not generating value. Look at the time Zay is spending without generating value. Now he generated value. Now he generated value. He is diluting the product to make the mixture. So, if we start looking at the processes and see everything he does that doesn't generate value, I can start thinking of ideas. Wait a minute. What can I do then to make it easier for Zay, so that he spends more time generating value? If I change this sink, if the bucket were under the faucet, just one faucet, that's all I need to do this, at the correct height, without having to bend down, with the products closer, with the products in a way that I don't need to exert myself, that I can measure an exact amount of what I need, especially the more difficult products. Reduce movement. When he is walking back and forth, he is not generating value. So if things are closer, he will spend more time generating value, meaning his salary will be better utilized. Look at everything he does to manage a simple task, the number of challenges. And now, he's going to go out and mix in the tank. This is a stationary tank, okay? From spraying, and he goes there, and he will close the pump, climb the tank to put the mixture, open the water. Look where he climbs. Look at the risks. This perspective on processes, in this way, is essential for us to implement continuous improvement. If I don't have this perspective, if I don't know how to identify these things, and if I keep looking at Zay thinking, but he's paid for this, he has to do it, I don't improve the process. We need to have what Paul Akers calls big eyes, big ears, small mouth. How many times have you done what we're doing here? Just looking at a process. Just looking, with your mouth closed. I stand still watching an operator work with the goal of identifying the difficulties he has, with the goal of being there to help him do his job better. How many times? Many times we have big mouths, talk a lot, see little, notice few things, hear little. We need to have big eyes, big ears to listen to people's difficulties, and a small mouth to provide support. That's the goal. That's how we practice the foundation of the little house. And more we hear producers, managers talking about the labor problem, and I know it's an important issue, but look at the workforce that's inside your business. How much time are we wasting of the people who are already there? They are already hired. They are already good. This guy here, look, is an amazing guy, a guy I don't want to lose. He is good at what he does, he is dedicated, but he is spending his time doing things that don't generate value. If first I, as a manager, as an owner, don't have this perspective, I won't be able to teach him to have this perspective. So first I have to learn, I have to do it, so I can bring this to Zay. for him to start seeing. Because from the moment he also has a broader perspective, his ability to see problems, to see opportunities for process improvement, is much greater than mine, as I go there and spend 2 or 3 minutes watching Zay work. Just imagine, in 2 minutes of video, we saw a lot of things. Imagine him with this perspective, working 8 hours. He's spending the whole day doing things that could be improved, could be done in an easier way to use time better, to allow him to produce more. And this is just one process within the farm. I have several processes, several people. Look at the amount of money, especially labor money, that I'm wasting, going down the drain, because I don't have this mindset of continuous improvement, which is the foundation of the Toyota house. To see this, to better calibrate my perspective, I have to understand that the results, remember I talked about the results depend on various factors. The result by itself is not generated alone. The result depends on the environment where things are happening, the operations, if things are far, disorganized, the machines, the equipment, the facilities. It also depends on what is coming in. It depends on the processes. And it depends on the people. All of this will define my workflow to deliver this result. If I don't have this perspective, many times I blame the people. Oh, Zay is bad. Zay can't finish his work. The spraying is delayed. The spraying isn't efficient. He's not mixing properly. What do I do then? I replace Zay. If the problem is Zay, I replace Zay, right? I let Zay go and hire someone else. Then another one comes in and makes the same mistakes. Then I let the other one go. Then another one comes in and makes the same mistakes. Because the cause is often not in the people. It doesn't mean it can't be. People are part of the system, but there are other things that can be causing bad results. The environment, machines, facilities, inputs, processes. I have to look at all of this. I'll give you an example here. Look at these two systems. The result is the same, arriving at work on time, arriving punctually at the right time. It's the same result. Which of the two systems do you think delivers a better result? And why? What is different? What is different in the environment? Wow, here, I have a much more organized visual environment, with clarity on what needs to be done. I have machines, right? More prepared. Each machine is in its place. So there's a place for the car, a place for the cart, for pedestrians to pass, motorcycles. Wow, here I have everything mixed up. Bicycles with cars, old broken cars, and people walking. It's a mess. If I look at the process, here the process is not clear, not defined. Here I have clear processes. I have people who were trained in the processes. They took classes to learn how to drive the car. The process is defined. What do I do when the traffic light closes? What do I do when the traffic light opens? There are defined processes. Up there are none. And I have people who know how to do it, people with clear roles, trained people who are coordinating, giving flow, who are executing the processes. Now I ask you something. Look at this picture here again. Who do you think drives better? This guy here or this person in this car here? To drive in this place here, the guy has to be good, has to be a pilot. I wouldn't be able to drive in this place. So I have a person who is often much better, but delivers a worse result because the environment is messy. So in what kind of place are the people on your farm working? In the bad or the good? Start to have this perspective, and everything that happens in our business is systems. We have several things happening, and each of these operations supports the plant. So I have here a series of systems providing support for the plant. So I have a system for soil preparation, planting, irrigation, spraying, harvesting, until I reach a shed, for example, for processing. They are different systems with different results in different environments. Each box of the business is a system, and I have to look at the system to start improving the work environment so the tools are close to where I need them. Look, here at Fazenda Malungo in Brasilia, the tools have to be where I need them. Where do I need the hoe? In the field. So I have here, look, and there's the right place. The blue tool is in the blue place, because next to it I have the other red one, and the tools are red, so that people arrive to work and don't have to keep hunting for tools. I have what I need. I don't waste time doing activities that don't generate value. Looking for the tool doesn't generate value. What generates value? Weeding being done at the right time in the right way, so as not to hinder the plant's growth, to support my plant. The machines have to be organized and managed. This is another example of how to manage the maintenance of tractors, equipment, preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance, the checklists. This cannot be on the computer. It has to be here, in the Gemba, where things actually happen. Gemba is the Japanese word for the real place. Because who has to manage this? Those who use the machines, the tractor operators. In other words, it's beside them. I'm managing the machines. I will manage the inputs, whether they are inputs like PPEs and other supplies, controlling the inventory, ensuring there's no shortage, but also ensuring I don't have a huge stock. Remember Toyota's 4 hours of inventory? Lean but well managed visually, and often doesn't need a computer or complex software. I do this in a simple way. This here is a tool, a Kanban in Japanese. Kanban means signal. It's a minimum stock signal, so I keep using my product, use, and when it gets here, it's a signal that I need to restock, to purchase this product before it runs out. See, there's still the minimum stock here. And on this card, I have all the information that the farm's purchasing department, the administration, needs to make this purchase. I am managing my inputs, managing the processes, ensuring that the processes are standardized, but not standardized to be stored away. Standardized in the place where people need them. There is a phrase that goes, the answer has to be where the question was asked. The answer has to be where the question was asked. It's no use if I'm here, in this pivot pump house, and I have a question. And the only person who can answer this question is the manager who is over there at the headquarters, in his office. It doesn't work. The answer has to be here. How? Make it visual. Make the process visual. For us to actually improve the processes in the Gemba, Kaizen is the word in Japanese that means change for the better. I create this culture of continuous improvement every day in my business, making small improvements every day. Small incremental improvements. The foundation of Toyota's house is a culture of continuous improvement. Continuous means continuous. Continuous means every day. Continuous does not mean big events. Continuous does not mean big improvements made by specialists. No, it's everyone. It's Zay improving his process every day at the Gemba, right where he works. This is only possible if we have big eyes, big ears, a small mouth, and empower people to have this. The big problem is that Zay, this guy you saw in the video, has been working on this farm for 3 years. He has been doing this process this way for 3 years. And don't think this is exclusive to this place. Your business is full of people wasting time, moving around aimlessly, doing unnecessary things without seeing it. They are walking on a path of stones barefoot every day without feeling the stones on the path. They have feet so calloused like this, a thick skin that doesn't feel the stones on the path. This happens especially in agriculture, where the brute manual laborer is valued. That guy who takes it on and says, "Leave it to me, I'll handle it, I'll make it happen." This guy is probably the one wasting the most, solving, putting out fires, doing things that, if well thought out, well planned, well organized, he wouldn't even need to be doing. But he doesn't see it because his foot is calloused. We need to sand down people's feet, make them have baby feet, so they feel the stones on the path, and only then can I create a culture of continuous improvement, where everyone removes a little stone from the path each day. And not having the great specialists, the Master Plus consultant of engineer, doctor, whatever, going once a year to improve a process within your business. It doesn't mean that's not important, of course it is. I'm an agronomist, you know. I value the technical knowledge I have, but I'm not on the farm every day. I'm not with Zay every day seeing the difficulties he has. I go there, make a recommendation, and leave. And Zay stays there, going over stones. So, you have to combine the two things. Combine the two things. I will never achieve truly effective improvements if I don't first have people improving the processes every day, trained and developed for this. This is the foundation of the house, and at the core, you see that it is essential to develop people, to develop leadership, so that leaders have a mindset of continuous improvement. And this phrase here, look, is the phrase that represents the Toyota system, the Toyota production system. Continuous improvement and respect for people. I cannot have continuous improvement if I do not have respect for people, because to improve, I need to have people. I need to have Zay observing, improving his own processes. I need to have this team here, with smiles on their faces, our team, with smiles on their faces, seeing how to improve their own processes, engaged. I have an army of process engineers improving what they are doing within their level. I'm not telling Zay to go improve the business's marketing strategy. No. Zay, you're going to improve the process of mixing spray solution, which is his day-to-day, his reality. If everyone is focused on making improvements with continuous improvement, we create this culture. For that, there must be respect for people. Because it's very easy for me to look at a business owner, you who are watching, and have respect for you, because you are people who have a successful business, who developed a successful business. But we have to look at everyone with that same respect. And respect is not just patting on the back and saying, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, paying for a barbecue at the end of the year, or attending the employee's child's baptism. That's not it. That's fine. Education, coexistence. Respect is looking at Zay, looking at these people who are here. And to think and believe that these guys have a lot of capacity to improve their own processes. That is respect. The greatest respect I can have for Zay is to believe that he is capable of improving what he does, capable of thinking, of reflecting on what he does. The moment we develop this respect, this mindset with all the people who work with us, from the owner to the manual laborer who is in the field every day, the same respect, the same potential, believing that everyone has this potential, then yes, I will be able to create a culture of continuous improvement. And the result of this is this here. Look, these here are results from Sakita, a process of continuous improvement applied to garlic planting. From 2016 to 2022, the cost of garlic planting production decreased by 43%. 43%, all adjusted and inflated. Okay? Adjusted to truly compare. Wow, Henrique, but everything is getting more expensive. How did they decrease it? They decreased it. Continuous improvement. But it wasn't from one year to the next. Look, it was gradual. Here in orange is the productivity of the people. In 2019, a garlic planter planted 900 meters per day. 2023, 1,300 meters per day. Little by little, incremental improvements. Small incremental improvements every day. And look at the people's salary, which is in green here. The people's salary went up from 2,500 to 3,800. People are earning more. They are plan. They are producing more. They are earning more. But the cost dropped 43%. People are earning more and the cost dropped. How? Continuous improvement. making people spend more time generating value, producing more. And you know what's funny? A garlic planter who today at Sakita plants 1,300 meters. If he goes to work at the neighbors over there, he can't produce all that. Because at the neighbors, the system is not organized in a way that actually allows him to produce all that. It's the system, not just the person. It's the system. Here, they are creating a system based on continuous improvement. And we see this in various other processes at Sakita. These are extraordinary results with ordinary people. I showed you the planting. Here's the harvest. Look, the first chart here, the harvest dropped 31%. Productivity went up from 22 to 34 boxes per day of harvest. In the sorting, 13% went from 21 boxes to 30 boxes. In the last harvest, it went up to 40 boxes. The guys are earning more. The same people in a different system, in a different environment, with different processes. This is, in fact, continuous improvement. This result is the result of us putting into practice what the Japanese call motainai. I know that maybe if someone is watching this course and has Japanese ancestry, they know what motainai means. Motainai, the word motainai means waste. But the real translation of this word is a deep feeling of regret when I waste something. And this is a belief that is deeply rooted in Japanese culture. For everything. Because it is a country that has suffered a lot, gone through many hardships, so wasting things is absurd. Wasting resources, wasting time, wasting resources, having to redo work is absurd. I cannot accept it. I do not accept it. What Toyota did was to preach this, which is already very strong in Japanese culture, and bring it into the factory. To put it into practice every day with everyone. This shows a deep respect for people and resources. And that is what we are putting into practice together with many farmers and leaders all over Brazil, on various farms. Of course, this is an introduction to this new way of thinking, and behind it, there is a lot of method, many tools, many things that help us put this into practice and develop this way of thinking. So, if you want to continue delving deeper, I will give you some tips. First, there is this book called Operational Excellence in Horticulture, a book we published sharing more stories from this community of farmers who have been putting this into practice in their business for many years, further developing this Toyota model applied to agriculture. And there are other books, 2-Second Lean by Paul Akers, which I mentioned to you at the beginning, a great reference, Banish Sloppiness, also by Paul Akers, and Improvement Starts with I by Tom Hughes. These 4 books are available on the website terredeal.com.br, available for free. In audiobook, for you who are not used to reading, in audiobook for you to listen in your car, going to the farm, returning home, wherever you want, so that it reaches more people. In addition, another source for deeper understanding is the podcast Akitemhurencia, a podcast that if you search on Spotify, Akitemhurencia, we have many episodes talking about this, the practical application of this model. And the Instagram Co-opter Radial, there we are always posting new things, new content. Keep delving into these topics, and I'll see you soon.